and work in. Although it's a bit hard to get a PR, citizenship, etc. in Singapore after your study, but getting some experience there is a great stepping stone in your life, I feel. So I would obviously go back.
Great. Thank you. We'd like to understand, how SMU and NYU structured the business program. So could you share, more insights into the program? Was it theory based? Was it case study based? Or was it experiential and supported with, hands-on working experience?
So I think it was a bit of a hybrid. So the first 2 years were more theory heavy in the sense that we used to have less like group work and more like individually based. Like there would be like more lectures and we'd have a lot more papers and exams, that kind of thing. But as I moved on to like my third and fourth year, my final 2 years, they became much more experiential based and case study based. So I think it was a great way to introduce us into, like it was a great segue into the working world because when we came in, like when I came in at least, and having studied in India, I didn't do IB, I did ISC. So I was used to a much more theory-based curriculum where, in fact, much more than even in the US, where in India you just had to like study throughout the day, just be buried in a book the entire year and then just write an exam. So I think that was a great segue because the first 2 years over there were sort of similar. And then after the third and fourth year, where you really, you know, break into the mold and you're more comfortable speaking up and interacting with other people, that's when they introduced like a lot more case studies, a lot more group work.
Right. Great. Over to you, Vanchika.
For SMU, we also had a hybrid kind of approach, but instead of uh, getting distributed based on terms, it was more for each course. So each course had some theory-based component and some practical component. So we had written exams, which were more theory-focused, but then we also got opportunities to intern with some companies or do case studies for each course, which gave us an understanding of how the particular theory we are studying in a course can also be used in the practical world.
Great. Which leads me to my next question. What are the most popular specializations within business at NYU and SMU respectively?
So I think at least at NYU, the specialization I did was the most popular. Like it was, I would say, like I don't have the exact numbers, but it was close to like 80% of all majors at in the business school used to do finance, and around like 70% of those majors used to do finance and data science. So it was sort of like the most basic and the most popular major over there. Apart from finance, I think a lot of people also went in for management, and the economics program was quite popular too. I think they've recently started, a sort of tech related concentration as well. I unfortunately didn't have the chance to, take any classes in that, but I've heard that they've recently started one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Vanchika.
Yep. So for SMU, I think the majority of students at my time at least took finance, followed by marketing, and also ops management as a third one, which I chose. But now, as Shaurya said as well, since my cousin has recently started his undergrad in SMU as well, he keeps telling me that now they have a lot of AI and IT related subjects as well, which is good. It wasn't so much in my time. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. So Shaurya, as you mentioned, the US curriculum and the pedagogy is more holistic in nature. So were you able to explore subjects outside business at NYU?
Yeah, so the I think the greatest thing about my college experience was that I was able to dabble into a bit of everything. So I also did a major in math. I was supposed to do it, but then I dropped it my third year because the classes became very difficult. But the good thing about NYU is that the curriculum is not very heavy. So if I was doing finance and data science, I only had to, so out of like 128 credits, which are divided into the 4 semesters I was there. So that was an average of 4 classes a semester. I only had to take two finance classes every semester in order to meet my requirement to graduate. So the other 68 credits, or rather the other two classes that I had to take every semester, I was free to take any class that I wanted to, be it in any other school. So it could be related to completely something completely unrelated to my major. Like I took a took a piano class, I took a bowling class. So you really could do anything. Of course, there are some core requirements that I'm sure is a part of every US college, and I think in Singapore too, where certain classes like a writing class or a third language class is something you have to take as a graduation requirement. But apart from that, you're free to do anything. So I experimented a lot, and it actually I was quite confused until the end about what I really want to do.
Right. Yeah, US definitely offers that flexibility. I think
Yeah.
that's why it's one of the top options for students who haven't decided yet. Coming to
Yeah,
Anshika, do
Sumit,
you think the same also applies to? Yes, yes.
hi. I would just like to step in. I'm also a Stern alumni, so I wanted to share that something unique that I did in my undergrad. I was also a finance and economics major, but I minored in creative writing and film. So those Tisch being a very popular school as well, and like being in New York, which is the heart of literature and theater. So that was a great opportunity for me, and one of the reasons why I think similar to Shaurya, why I chose NYU over other offers that I had was because of the ability to pursue these other interests.
Great. Thank you, Akriti, for your inputs. Over to you, Vanshika. Do you think the same also applies to SMU?
Yes, I think it's very similar as well in SMU. Although we are supposed to fulfill a certain number of credits in our degree to qualify and graduate, but still we have certain credits available that we can obviously explore around other majors and other schools as well. So, for example, for me, although I had a lot of courses on business and management, I also experimented and learned French. Uh, Arts, creative writing, um, and few others I don't remember now. I could experiment with a lot of other majors as well.
That's great to hear. So what kind of class sizes and teaching styles can students expect at NYU and at SMU respectively?
I think it really varied from class to class. Like some classes could be extremely intimate. Like suppose my writing class in freshman year was like only 15 of us. And there were some classes where they would be structured a little differently, where there would be a lecture component and then a recitation component. So the lecture component would be like 400, 500 students even, and there would just be one speaker, and there would of course not be any sort of individual focus on a student. But then they would have these weekly recitations with much smaller groups of 20 people, 25 people, and those would be like much more individually focused and driven on recapping what happened in the lecture. And there were some lectures, some classes as well, which were just they weren't divided into lectures and recitations, but they were like 50, 60 students. So it was a mixed bag.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about SMU, Vanshika?
SMU was a bit different because I think SMU is also known to have very small class batches. I think the highest number of students in my one of my courses was 60. But other than that, we had also courses with 20, 25, 30 students. So, and I think that was also great because professors could give personal attention to each student. I had a personal connect with each of my profs in SMU. I never felt like no one's giving me attention or my doubts are not getting cleared. I always had that experience at SMU. So that was really good.
Great. My next question is, how competitive are the business programs compared to other majors at your university?
So at Stern, there was this thing called the Stern curve. So how it would work is you weren't assigned a grade based on the absolute amount you scored in an exam. It would always be how you're doing relative to the rest of the class. So for example, the top 35% of the class would get an A minus or an A. So it was distributed that way. So it could definitely get quite competitive. I'm not sure if that's what you meant to ask. Was it more how competitive it is compared to like the rest of the programs, or is it
Yes,
okay?
yes,
So
that's it.
yeah, so I think it was definitely one of the more higher rated programs in NYU. I think that along with the Tisch School, which is famous for like its acting and the theater arts, that those were the top two programs I would say. But the economics program, the computer science program, a lot of them are also really famous.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, Shaurya. Over to you, Vanshika.
And for SMU, it's pretty similar as well to NYU. SMU is known to be very competitive. We also had a grading curve in SMU. So we didn't really have absolute, but it was relative to other students. So even if I score a 90 and someone scored a 95, I would still get a B instead of an A. But if I compare different programs and schools at SMU, I would say School of Business and School of Law were the top most competitive and hard to get into, and also hard to get good grades in. But I would say economics and social science and other schools were also hard, but a bit lesser than business and law.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the application and the admissions process for the two of you. So what do you think were the aspects of your business school application that worked for you?
That's a bit hard to answer because honestly, college admissions are as much luck as they are effort, honestly. Like, I feel like it's really hard to quantify what exactly worked. But
Mm.
I definitely, like, I built a very strong business profile for myself. In fact, my Common App essay was also based on, business and how I've grown up surrounded by business, how it inspired me to pursue this. So I definitely built a profile around that. I was a part of a bunch of these business conclaves, which were like these sort of business related MUNs that used to happen in high schools around Calcutta. So I used to participate in those very actively. I had my own startup, which didn't really take off once I left for college, but I think sort of showing that keen interest in business is definitely something that worked for me.
And
How
Shaurya,
about you?
sorry, Vanchika, before you ask, Shaurya, were you also like, what were your majors in high school? And could you talk a little bit about that also? Like, were you very quantitative subjects in high school, or did you have business as a subject?
Yep. So I did ISC, not IB. So my subjects were math, English, and commerce, accounts, and economics. So I definitely did have that sort of background that helped, that gave me the platform to pursue business in undergrad as well. And uh, I did, like, I took the SAT, I took a couple of APs as well. I took SAT 2 for math. So I think I did a lot of like quantitative exams to show the colleges at least that that's something I'm keen in.
Great. Over to you, Vanchika.
Um, I think I gave the SAT as well, but more than that, SMU is more focused on obviously your grades and then extracurriculars. So I remember I did a lot of internships in my school and also during the time between my school and my undergraduation degree start time. I also did community service. So I think even SMU, that's another thing. SMU requires about like 120 hours of community service to graduate in their program as well. So that's something that they are very interested in when a student applies to their program as well. So I think that's something you need to focus on. I worked at the blind school in Delhi for a while, and also and my school in India had a bit of community service programs as well. So I did that as well.
Okay, thank you. My next question is related to the application essay. So what did you highlight in your applications, in your personal essay for the Common App and for the SMU essays that you think helped you stand out?
So for the US applications, you have to write a Common App essay, as I'm sure most of you all know. And we also had to write a YNYU essay, which was like specific to the college. So in my Common App essay, as I mentioned, I wrote about, how I've grown up surrounded in a world of business. I've grown up in a very business-oriented family, and just, being a part of, I wanted a seat on the table. That was the entire theme of my essay, basically. And my YNYU essay was essentially, it was a very basic essay in the sense that it was just answering the question. I didn't really do anything fancy with it, but it was a very well researched essay, and I picked out a bunch of things that like I spoke to a bunch of students that I knew who were already there. So I really asked them what topics I should highlight, and I tried to go with that because that's something that they appreciate. For example, NYU is really proud of how diverse it is. I think it is one of the most diverse student bodies in the US. So I really tried to highlight that and showed that how I would fit seamlessly into that culture. So that's the sort of research, and I try not to focus too much on, like, the program itself, but more into how my experience at the college will be really really beneficial and how I myself can add to it.
Great. Thank you. Sure. Over to you, Vanshika.
I don't exactly remember what I specifically wrote, but I remember that I tried to distinguish myself, because again, SMU also focuses on diversity a lot, and however, they don't accept a lot of international students. I think only 5% of their program in business is international, rest is local. So the students they select from international backgrounds need to be very distinct from each other. So I think that's what I expressed in my essays. Other than that, also I showed my because I belong from a school in India that is very culture focused. So till the fifth grade, for example, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya, if anyone knows about that, we are taught in Hindi and we learn about the Indian culture. So that was something that I actually wrote a lot about in my essay because that I believe helped me distinguish myself from the rest of the students who are getting into the university.
Okay, thank you. So both of you talked about diversity. Did you also see this diversity in the classroom, at NYU and SMU respectively?
Absolutely. Like, I I interacted with all kinds of people, not just, on campus, but even in my classes. It was quite like, it was used to be like 20% Indians, 30% Asians,
Mhm.
20% white people. It was quite diverse in that aspect, and it was really refreshing to see, so many people come from all over the world. Like, my roommate in freshman year was a Peruvian. There was someone on my there's someone on my floor that actually left North Korea and came. So it was quite insane to see the vast variety of people that you can come across.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Vanshika?
I think for SMU, about 70% are Singaporeans, and the rest 30% are from different parts of the world. Indians, majority, also a lot of people from mainland China, um, Thailand, Philippines, etc., Malaysia. So a lot of people around Asia. But we had exchange programs where I saw a lot of people coming in from the US, Germany, across the world. So I met a lot of exchange students in my course as well.
And did you guys also participate in any exchange programs or study abroad opportunities?
Uh, I unfortunately didn't get the chance to, but if anyone ever does happen to go to NYU, I cannot emphasize enough how much you all should do that. They have a great study abroad program, and they really try to focus on diversity. So it's, I guess, genuinely my biggest regret from undergrad that I didn't do a study abroad program, but I would definitely recommend it.
Shaurya, you didn't have ISP, International
No, so it was
Studies?
cancelled because it was during COVID. So Stern has
Okay.
this really cool thing where, so in the third year, so it's compulsory for all Stern students. You have to enroll in this course called the ISB, International Study. I'm not sure what
Program.
it stands for.
ISP,
Yeah,
International Study
ISP, right?
Program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
International Study Program. So they make you study about this one company that's based in another country in the world, and so they make you focus on that the company the entire semester, and then during the spring break of that semester they actually fly you out to the headquarters of that company wherever it is in the world. So it was a huge, like, bonus point for me, but unfortunately it got cancelled because it was during COVID.
Oh,
In my year, I went to Chile, Santiago, Chile, and the company we covered was the Latin American airline carrier called LATAM. And so in
Wow.
my year, there were also Singapore, Florence, and Chile, three locations, and it's compulsory. I mean, it got
Yeah.
cancelled due to COVID in Shaurya's time, but for all the other Stern students, it's compulsory for them to take this trip in
Mhm.
their third year
It's back on
semester.
now. I have a cousin who's
It's back.
studying there right now. She said, yeah,
Yeah.
she's gonna go next year.
How about you, Vanchika?
Yes, for me also it got cancelled, unfortunately, because of COVID. But SMU also has a great exchange program. I think it happens in your third year that you're eligible to go for exchange program, and SMU is connected to great universities around the world. So that's a great opportunity. And also you can transfer your courses back. So, for example, you do three courses, and that particular course also exists as part of a program in SMU. You can always transfer it back so your term doesn't get wasted.
And Vanchika, do you have to apply separately for the exchange?
Yes, so you have to apply based on your grades, you'll get selected. So you get there is a requirement for each university, and the cumulative grades that you have received till then, you have to submit, including the extracurriculars you have done, and based on that, the university will choose you.
Thank you.
So, what were some extracurricular activities that you pursued, Vanchika and Shaurya?
Sorry, Shaurya, go ahead.
In terms of the exchange program or just in general?
Just in general, outside
Okay,
academics.
so I was part of this business fraternity called Alpha Kappa Psi. So that was definitely a great experience. It was more like a professional fraternity as compared to the social fraternities that most people see on TV. So it was a great experience to sort of network with other people who are also in the same business, also in the same like course, and it gave me an access to a very great network of alumni. They would help me network with all kinds of people at companies that I would want to work at. It was really a great resource. So I think that's definitely something that I would recommend, is trying to join any sort of organization on campus, be it, especially if it's something you're interested in. Like I did end up doing consulting, but there was this consulting club at NYU called 180 DC, which was amazing. Like, it was very, very well connected, and there were like alumni who were working at top jobs in, like, all the great consulting firms. So it was a great resource to have. I unfortunately couldn't join that. It's quite competitive to join these sort of business clubs. So and you have to apply like two three semesters, and then you'll probably get in your junior year, or maybe if you're lucky, your sophomore year. They usually don't take in a lot of people in the freshman year. So it was quite competitive, but I think it was really, really helpful.
Vanchika, do you want to share?
Um, I think I had two clubs that I was a part of. One was a sports related run club. So I think that was a great opportunity for me to interact with students who have come to SMU in different programs. So I would recommend anyone who's going to SMU or any other university to always join a sports or art related club. Other one was Train the Trainers program. It was a finance related program in SMU. They had done this in collaboration with Citibank. They taught us financial concepts, and then we were approved to teach, go around the different schools and colleges in Singapore and teach financial concepts to young students as well. And I'm still eligible trainer in Singapore to teach those concepts. So I think that's all something you can look into.
Awesome. How about you, Akriti? Because you also went to Stern.
Yeah, I did a lot. I think I was part similar to what Shaurya was saying. I was into equity research, so I did the investment analysis group where we would choose stocks and we would pitch them, and we had like a mock trading portfolio. That was a great learning experience for all different things related to equity. And I was on the squash team, the NYU squash team. So we would travel, we would go to all the other colleges, like which I did not get accepted into, like Wharton and Harvard and MIT. And so that was like kind of living vicariously and seeing that college life through the competitions, the squash competition.
Do you have a particular experience or a project in mind that pushed you outside your comfort zone?
I don't know off the top of my head, Vanchika, if you have something, please go for it.
Nothing specific for me as well, but I think every course I did in SMU pushed me out of my comfort zone because, as I said, I came from CBSE, and studying in SMU was a completely different way of studying. I had never worked on PowerPoints before, never worked on Excel before. So I think just working on projects in each course was a great experience for me. Um, and I could see myself that as the last few years of my degree came, I had become an expert in everything, including presenting in front of like hundreds people. I never had the confidence of doing that before, but every course in SMU requires you to present a project in front of the class, or even sometimes the company, the clients that they're partnering with. So I think that really helped me gain a lot of confidence as well, and it's helping me right now in my working, like my company as well right now.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with what Vanchika just said. I don't think in India you get the chance to, speak a lot in the classroom or collaborate with other people and sort of, you don't really get the chance to do a lot of public speaking, which was a huge shift in like college, because in college you're expected to, like, there's an entire percentage of your grade at the end of the semester that's attributed to like attendance and participation. So you are obligated to speak up during class, take part in the discussions, give your own bit every try to get in a word or two at least every class. So I think that was definitely something that did get me out of my comfort zone. Like my first 3 4 classes, I would just be quiet and sitting in a corner trying to listen. But then after a point, I realized that I have to speak up, otherwise the professor won't ever notice me, and I'll probably get a very bad participation grade. So that's something that definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. I guess another thing that really pushed me out of my comfort zone was the all the group work that we had to do. I wasn't really used to that back in India. In India, like we usually mind our own business and like study on our own and just give the exams and we're done. But in the US, you're like you do a lot of group work, and having to entrust part of your grade to other people was definitely scary. But that was a sort of leap of faith that we all had to take and get used to. Yeah, I think that was pretty much uh, the most difficult part that took some adjusting to.
Great. Yeah, so I think this is common between SMU and NYU. You have to engage in the classroom because it's not just about doing well in your courses and your tests, but it's also, part of a holistic developmental approach where you engage in group projects, presentations, and you collaborate and communicate with each other. So I think that's a very healthy habit to have in an educational ecosystem. My next question, it's a two-part question. What was the most unique thing about your university experience? And if you could describe the vibe of your university in one word, what would it be? And Akriti, you can also pitch in here.
I
Would
guess
you
the
like
most
to
unique
share?
thing was
No, no,
generally
go
like
ahead.
the people. Like I met all kinds of people, interacted with, and also the openness, I guess, with which people would interact. New York is supposed to be a very liberal city. Everyone's very candid. Everyone's also very busy with their own thing, definitely. But it's genuinely shocking to see not just the people on campus, but also the people that you just see walking on the streets in New York. I think it was a huge culture shock for me, but it was also like a very unique part of my experience over there. The fact that, I could I could just be walking next to a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. One of my classes actually was taught by the CEO of one of the biggest financial institutions in the US as well. So just the fact that you are connected to like so many high profile people and also all kinds of different people. I think that was definitely the most unique part of going to NYU and living in New York. And yeah, I guess the one word I could use to describe NYU is diverse. Like generally, I cannot emphasize how diverse it was. Like it was, you could just run into anyone, you could speak to any kind of person, like from any part of the world.
Great to hear. How about SMU, Vanshika?
SME also had a great student experience. Like NYU for sure, but not to square anyone, but it was very competitive as well. It's an Asian university, so Asian countries, usually, especially Singapore, is a bit more focused on education. So the students, they were very competitive, and the group projects and everything, people literally could actually betray you to get better marks. So you always have to be like at the top of your like work and do everything in the beginning. But I think that helped me a lot in life because that taught me how to be more organized, plan my work better, always be ahead of schedule, and also I also gained confidence because if I'm able to do better than someone in my class who's as much competitive as I was, and also maybe working more hard than I am. So I think it was great learning experience for me overall.
Awesome. Akriti, you want to share anything?
Vanshika, you didn't mention one word, the vibe. Is
Um,
it?
I I can't think of one word. Maybe very studious, competitive environment. It was very different from NYU because I know NYU is very like focused on extracurricular, sports, diversity. It's like a whole university vibe, college life. But SMU also has those components, but overall vibe is more like a fully focused business school, almost like working in a company.
Yeah.
And if I can add a line as Vanshika's college counselor, she wanted to be, she could do anything to get to NYU, which was originally a dream school with Columbia. But uh, but I think her dad's preference of Singapore overpowered, and she landed up in Singapore's downtown college rather than NYU's downtown college.
That's
Um,
correct.
yeah. So for me, I think the one word I would say for NYU is, and my experience at NYU would be, um, it's not a word, it's a phrase. I would say I was living my best life inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And I mean, just the opportunity of being in one of the, I would say, the city in the entire world in your early 20s and experiencing so many different things. So life was like constantly full of color and vividness and so many experiences and adventures. And like to the point where the academics did take a bit of a backseat also in the first year. But then you eventually, learn how to balance, and everything was super enriching and like vivid.
Awesome. Um, to all the attendees, in case you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box and we'd be happy to address them. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about your work experience during your undergrad studies. So could you share your first internship story? How did you get it? What you learned from that experience? Which organization you worked with?
So in the US, it's a bit difficult to get an internship in your first year. And in my second year was the year that COVID hit. So I couldn't really get any work experience in that year. My third year, I worked remotely for the startup. It was this financial institution that used to do equity research and trade in equities. So that was a really, really new experience for me. It was, of course, I wish it wasn't remote because I felt like I could have learned a lot more. And it didn't really truly prepare me for what it was like to work in person in a company, which is what I had to do once I graduated. Once I graduated, I had to be fully in person 5 days a week in the office. So it was definitely something that I felt like I needed some preparedness for. But it was this equity research company, and my role was to basically do a bunch of data mining, cleaning up data for them, and so it was part internship and part like sort of like this course that we were taking. So we were also supposed to do our own project on the side where we used to pick like an equity and research, and at the end of the year, like the entire end of the internship rather, the entire internship class would pitch their own stock to the company, like to the investment team, and then they would pick like the top three. So it was a really cool experience and a very hands-on experience I had. It was very different than anything that I had learned in the classroom. I feel like a lot of what I did on the job, of course, my education helped me, but a lot of the learning happens on the job itself. So I think that was a really enriching and very strong learning experience for me.
Great. And in general, what kind of internship opportunities do NYU business undergrads typically get?
So I think in the business school at least you have a lot of exposure to all kinds of institutions. So they have like these fairs that where like representatives, like recruiting representatives from all companies come to campus quite often. They have like a very big career fair every couple of months, and then they have like these smaller, more intimate networking sessions. They have all kinds of events where you can interact with like different kinds of companies, be it in on the business aspect of things or even in other roles. You sort of get a lot of opportunities to interact with people who are working in those jobs. So you can network around and see what's available. They have this career center called the Wasserman Career Center. So you can always just go there and ask them for advice on, how you can build your profile better, how you can some, nice interviewing techniques, recruiting techniques that you can use to push your profile forward. And you really had all kinds of opportunities out there, like all kinds of roles were available to you, even in terms of internships.
Great. Thank you, Shaurya. Over to you, Vanshika.
I interned with a skincare slash cosmetic startup based in Singapore called Cocoveda. I did marketing for them, and it was like a 11-month long internship. And I think it was also during COVID time when I was back in India and my uni was online, so I had some extra time in hand as well. So I think that was really a good experience for me. Uh, and that was like my first fully corporate vibe for me. I had never had an experience like that before. So that was a great stepping stone for me. In terms of what SMU offers as internships, so SMU doesn't directly offer an internship for the students. However, they also have internships hub for students. So students can always go there, and then they have career counselors based on your requirements, your degrees, and your future aspirations. The student can always get advice from the counselors and a roadmap on how to achieve your dream internship or dream job in the future.
Great. Awesome. And do most graduates head towards consulting, finance, entrepreneurship, or they also enter other industries?
I think most people end up at like banks or at consulting firms because those have the strongest presence in New York. Like there are, like I think most like the big four consulting firms and the best three, like the top 7 8 consulting firms are all based out of New York. Like they are headquartered in New York, and that's where the largest office sizes are. So, and in terms of banks as well, like there's Wall Street right over there, so all sort of banks and investment firms are all headquartered in New York. So I think that's where at least most business school people ended up, because they would tend to hire a lot from NYU, and they would, like especially in your senior year, they would like directly come on campus and you could show up with your resume and show them your profile, and you could land an interview right there without even having to apply through their portal. So I think that's, yeah, I think most people ended up doing like something finance related or something consulting related.
Got it. Thank you. How about you, Vanshika?
For SMU as well, although it depends upon your degree a lot as well. For example, if you're doing a degree in social sciences, then obviously you will not get into those fields. But if you're doing a course like I did, BPM, then most of the students went into consulting, finance, etc. And I think in Singapore as well, top companies really like the students from SMU, and they offered SMU graduates get offered jobs quickly as well in Singapore, especially the local students. So I think, yeah, that's it.
All right, great. My next question is related to scholarships. So, what kind of scholarships are available for business students at your university at both, at the time of application and then as a current student at university?
So NYU did have a lot of like scholarships available, a lot of research grants. So they don't offer a lot of merit-based scholarship, but their need-based program is very big. So if you show a financial profile that cannot afford the tuition, and I think I'm not sure if they still are, but at least when I was applying, I think they were need blind. I'm actually not fully sure, but what that means basically is that they look at your profile without seeing whether you need financial scholarship or not, and your selection is completely agnostic to whether you need any sort of scholarship. And then based on whether they like your profile, you're selected, they'll give you however much scholarship you need, which is really refreshing for, like, it's really good to know for students who are applying for that, knowing the fact that they're applying for scholarship doesn't deter the college from selecting them in any way. Even apart from that, I don't think they have a lot of merit-based scholarships for international students. They have sports scholarships, like they recruit a lot of students to compete in sports for them directly. So that's definitely something that is available. And they have a lot of like really cool research grants. And during COVID, they definitely offered, a lot of support to students. Like every semester, they would give us like $1,000 stipend during COVID to, spend on like groceries and all those kind of things. So it was really cool. Like this one semester, I was really trying to save up money and I couldn't afford to fly back home. So I wrote an email to them saying that, can I get this $1,000 stipend to book a ticket back home, and they send the money to me. So that way they were really supportive, definitely. And I also know of a friend who was on need-based scholarship, and so every semester they could ask for an increase on the scholarship as well, and NYU would oblige. Like every semester they progressively kept increasing the scholarship as well. So I think they're really supportive of their students financially, and you can always, like, without hesitation, reach out to them and they'll be glad to help.
That's great to hear. Thanks, Shaurya.
Mhm.
How about SMU, Vanshika?
So SMU offers a bond where you could sign it, and then you have to stay and work in Singapore for the next 3 years after your graduation. And if that's the case and you accept that, then your fee, I think, gets halved or something. I'm not sure about that exactly. Um, Other than that, I don't think they had any merit-based scholarships for international students, but financial needs scholarships were there. And I know a few people who were there on the financial needs scholarship, but you always have to provide proof that you cannot afford the fee, and they'll be ready to help you.
Great. Thank you.
Another point I'd like to tell all our audience here is that I think both universities, I know for NYU, they have payment plans. So that helps you break down the tuition. And so what happened when I went, the dollar appreciated by like 30% from my first year to the second year, which really screwed up the financial planning that my family and I had done. So we were able to kind of not pay in one go the entire year, but break it up into almost four payments. So it was more manageable. And like Shaurya said, that it was this once you get there, even if you're not on scholarship, there is certain amount of help and aid which is offered to you from the university side. Vanchka, I think payment plan may have been there in SMU also.
I'm not really sure about that.
Sure.
Okay. We are nearing the end of this discussion. So in case anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, turn on your video, and you can, ask your questions to Shaurya or Vanshika. Okay. We wanted to do a quick rapid fire round. So first question, what advice would you give to your younger self before starting university?
Don't be afraid to take risks. Like, don't be afraid to sound dumb. Ask the dumbest questions you have. Just, put yourself out there and take the risk that you want to. Honestly, I think that's what college is all about.
Yeah, same. I think just be confident. You can do if you work hard, just be confident in yourself.
Okay. Biggest cultural shock when you first arrived?
I guess the openness of the people over there. Like, people would talk very openly, be very, like, there was just like this air of comfort and openness around campus. Like, people, you can talk to anyone about anything over there without scared of being judged in any way as well. And yeah, I guess that was a huge culture shock for me, because I'm not used to having that sort of open environment.
Vanshika?
For Singapore as a city, I didn't get a cultural shock because I had visited it multiple times before. But for SMU, I think the way of education and studying that students used to do was way different, as I mentioned before as well. So that was a big culture shock for me.
Great. Describe the ideal student fit for your university.
I think someone who's definitely willing to try a lot of new things, because I think that was a huge part of my NYU experience, that you could be a part of tens of thousands of different things. So anyone who's interested in, trying to be a part of multiple things at once, not just on campus, but also off campus, you could be a part of so many organizations. There's so much that the city itself has to offer. So I think it's like, if you're someone who's very focused on what they want to do, like especially if it's something like science related, like if someone wants to do like a physics major or something and they're very focused on that, then I don't know if NIU would be the best fit. Of course, I mean they might also enjoy it, but I think it's very well designed for people who want to try a bit of everything, try a lot of new experiences.
How about SM?
Um, I think if you're someone who's hard worker and uh, not afraid of basically working hard and staying up late nights and experiencing and actually want to experience how the business environment is and the corporate culture is, then you're a good fit for SMU.
Any last words of advice for EduCoach students?
I don't know.
Like if you were
Uh,
applying today, what would you tell yourself? Like the one thing, you know how it is. Remember when you were applying, you were so stressed and so overwhelmed by everything. So maybe some advice to our students who have joined us today.
I would say that firstly, don't get married to the idea of attending a specific college, because that leads to a lot of disappointment. Secondly, I feel like it's 90% what you make of your experience over there. So even if the program you're attending is not the highest ranked in the country, or even if it's not the most competitive, I think it's 10% what resources you're provided with, and 90% what you make of those resources. So I think don't like I would say try to focus on what works for you instead of chasing a highly ranked program. I think that's very important, because I think working, like creating the right environment for you to get the best out of yourself is much more important. And even in top jobs, like I could see people from not just from the top 10 business schools, but from business schools from all over the country. So I think it's largely what you make of the experience.
Vanshika?
That's great.
Yes, I think the main thing is don't stress at all. One thing I've learned over my course of education, first in Singapore, then in Australia, is that if I stress less, I'm much more effective, confident, and productive. So always try to do that. Even I am trying to do that myself. It's hard, but try. And also, the second thing is that, as Shora said, don't focus on how great the university is ranked in the world. If it's first, second, 10th, 30th, doesn't matter. Because you'll see when you join the corporate world or start your own thing in the future, you'll see that someone who's maybe from the 500th ranked university in the world is also standing with you, even though you're from the second ranked, best ranked university in the world. So don't take that stress. Try your best to obviously get into your dream university, but if you don't get into it, it's not the end of the world.
Thank you. We've reached the end of this
Sumit, we
discussion. A
have
big,
some
yeah,
questions
some
from
questions.
Instagram. We got some
Okay, okay,
questions from
sure.
Instagram. Just take a few more minutes. Um, Vanchika, this one is for you. They're asking why you chose to pursue your master's at UNSW after SM.
Okay, so I tried to get a job in Singapore, and I got a job, but it's really hard to get a work visa and citizenship in Singapore, and that's the reason why I left Singapore. Australia was a country I wanted to experience living in, and that was the reason why I chose Australia. UNSW Business School is highly ranked in the world and known for its program, so that was the reason why I chose UNSW.
Okay, great. And Shaurya, for you, the question is that have you been able to use the NYU Stern alumni network towards any significant like advantage?
Absolutely. So it was the alumni network is very, very strong. They also have this a platform called the Stern Connect, if I'm not wrong. So it was like this sort of platform where all current Stern students and ex-Stern students could connect. So it was really a very nice way to connect with ex-students, probably working in roles that you're interested in. So you could just reach out to them on the platform itself, and you could ask them for a coffee chat, or just get to know more about what their life looks like. Maybe ask them for a referral, which is a very huge thing in recruiting. So if you have someone from the company writing a referral for you or putting a word in for you, that usually goes a long way in recruiting. So in that way, I think the Stern network was very, very strong. The alumni were always glad to help, and they would always be very glad to, put a word in for you. So I really leveraged the network a lot. Like, the alumni network was very strong and really helped me.
Awesome. Vanshika, one more question for you, and perhaps Punya, so you can also chime in. Is UNSW good for UG business management?
I think it is. I think it's better for undergrad, in fact, more than postgrad. And Puna, so you can also intervene if I'm saying something wrong. But it's their undergrad business program is ranked among the top most best ranked programs in the world. And also, I think the diversity in the undergrad program is also much more. So you'll get to experience more local culture in the undergrad experience, because a lot of locals don't end up joining the master's program, but they join the undergrad program. So if you want to get the Australian vibe, it's better to always consider undergrad.
Adding into what Vanshika said, so UNSW overall business school has both undergrad and postgrad. And when you see rankings, you see collective rankings of the business school. It's currently ranked, I think, 13th or 14th best business school in the world. Vacillates between 13th and 18th, which is a very, very solid business school ranking. So, which is a combined ranking for both undergrad and postgrad. Is it good for UG business? Yes, it is very good. Is it better? I can't comment better because that depends on various parameters. I would say Australia overall is, in the current scenario, a little bit more popular for postgrad than undergrad, because Australia does offer a higher chance of settlement. And when students are looking at grad school, PR and settlement is more a criteria than the other factors, because at undergrad, they're sometimes open to even going to countries where they don't necessarily want to settle down, because they know that they have one more degree following them, and the second degree may dictate where they eventually wish to settle down. Diversity factor wise, yes, undergrad offers great diversity, great insight into the Australian vibe. But if you compare overall Australia with the Western colleges, the international diversity rate is still slightly lower. And some students love that, some students don't like that. So again, it boils down to personal preference. But all said, it's a great business school.
We've got one more question. What was the experience of placements post your course for international students?
It's
Whoever's put this question, can you mention who the question is for, or whether it's for Vanshika or Shaurya?
I think it's for both of them. It's from BJF, I'm not sure.
I think it's for both. But
Yeah.
since they both had COVID kind of disrupting their thing, maybe you can talk a little bit about that also.
So, in fact, COVID actually really benefited me in the sense that I was supposed to graduate in 2022. So, and that was the year where companies had to fill a lot of the backlog because they didn't really hire a lot in 2022 and 2021 and 2020. So, 2022 was sort of a bumper year where everyone got a job. So, I think COVID was definitely a blessing in disguise for my graduating class. Unfortunately, things have taken a very big downturn since then, with not just in terms of the economy, but also because of Trump coming in. The environment is definitely a little more hostile and a little more difficult for placements, especially with the new H1B ruling coming in. I don't know if it's going to stay, honestly, but yeah, with that, I think landing a job is going to get significantly harder, because that extra 100K that each company needs to consider for every applicant obviously will deter them from hiring more. But if you ask me, like, if you're looking to apply right now, and you're like looking to start attending in 2026, I think that should be actually a good time to step into the working world, because that's when, companies will be trying to fill in the backlog from not hiring for the next 2 years while Trump is still there. I am hoping that it gets repealed at least once he steps out. So once he's out of the way, I think that's going to be a good recruiting environment.
Thank you, Shaurya.
Hmm.
A big thank you to Shaurya and Vanchika for taking off the
I
time
have
to
one
join.
question, just one last question. Sorry. This question is for Shaurya. Shaurya, can I mean, living in New York is like that one exotic relationship that everybody's looking at being in, and once they are in the relationship they realize that they've been bitten. It has happened with a lot of students of mine I've seen, where they're infatuated by the life in New York, and couple of months later when they're there they feel that it's the worst decision they've made. While a lot of students love it, some get completely put off, and I've had a lot of students transfer out of colleges in New York despite having explained to them that it can be intimidating. It's not a city meant for everybody. Uh, Anything, I know we are digressing slightly from business, but because you went to Stern, I thought I'll just pick this question up with you for the benefit of the audience out here. Living in New York, charm versus the perils, and how one could outweigh the other.
No, absolutely. Like I have seen a lot of people gone astray as well. A lot of people aren't really that comfortable in the city. It's definitely a lot to take in. I think it's most important that you surround yourself with the right people, surround yourself with people that are like-minded and that push you to be the best version of yourself. So I was lucky enough to, find that sort of support group that helped me feel comfortable in the city, because it can 100% get very overwhelming. There's too much going on. And it's so easy to, just give up focus and, just like stop studying and do whatever you want to do, because there's no oversight over there. Like no matter what you do, your family does not actually know what you're up to over there. You can be lying to them, be assure them that you're attending all the lectures, but in reality just sleep in, or like be partying the previous night and miss all classes. So it's definitely easy to go astray, but I think it's also more about how grounded and how focused you can keep yourself. It's definitely a test in that, but it's important to surround yourself with the right people. And in terms of the competitiveness as well, like it's a very fast-paced city, everyone's moving very quickly, so it can get possible to sort of lose yourself in the process. But again, it's important to keep yourself grounded. It's definitely not built for everyone. I don't want to sound too pompous when I say that, but it's not the best fit for everyone. If you're looking for like something relaxed, slow paced, like I don't think New York is the best place to be, because everything is moving too quickly over there. And if you aren't moving quick enough, you'll get trampled on.
Lovely.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Of course. Akriti, if you have anything to add to that as well,
No, no, I definitely it's type A personality are suited for Manhattan. And if you're not that, then proceed with caution. And like Shaurya said earlier, don't go after the brand name. You have to see that you have a good fit and a good life, and you're able to cope those 4 years. It's not everyone's cup of tea. So, Sumit, thank you so much.
Thank you, Akriti, and actually, most of all, thank you to Shaurya and Vanchika for joining us, and a big thanks to all the attendees.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much. Today's
everyone.
session
thank
was very
you.
You.
elaborate. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
All the best, Shaurya. All the best, Vanshika.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
you too.
much.
All
Bye.
right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.